The smoke drifted over the burned field, and the wind carried a strange smell, half ash, half something sweet and strange. Sergeant Daniel Cross moved through the scorched grass with his pulse rifle raised, eyes scanning for movement. The war had come from nowhere, as if someone had flipped a switch. One day the skies were clear, the stars silent. The next day, strange ships filled the upper orbit and dropped pods into Earth's forests. Nobody knew who they were. The aliens didn't respond to messages. They didn't speak. They simply appeared, then vanished just as quickly, always taking something or someone. Scientists thought it might be a misunderstanding, but after they took a whole village and left nothing behind except a crater, humanity fought back. Daniel was part of one of the first response teams sent to the outer zones, places where the alien drop pods had landed. His orders were simple: search and report. Don't engage unless threatened. But he knew better. If they had a chance, they would fight back. The aliens weren't just invaders, they were silent predators. His squad had been split during a strange attack 2 days ago. He hadn't seen the rest of his team since the ambush. Alone now, Daniel followed a signal beacon that blinked weakly on his wristpad. It didn't belong to Earth tech, it was alien, no doubt. Still, it was the only lead he had. As he moved through the clearing, a low hum made him freeze. His body tensed, heart pounding. He crouched, sliding between large rocks covered in glowing moss. The humming grew louder. Then he saw her. She wasn't like the others. She wasn't armored or armed. The alien girl stood in the center of a strange circle of floating stones. Her skin shimmered softly like moonlight. Her eyes, large, golden, not human, watched him closely. Her long white hair floated as if the air around her was heavier than normal. She was holding something in her hands. He raised his rifle, but she didn't move. No fear, no aggression. "I won't hurt you," he said, voice low, trying to sound calm. "But I need answers." She tilted her head. Then she stepped forward slowly, carefully, like someone approaching a frightened animal. He tensed, finger ready on the trigger. But she didn't attack. Instead, she stretched out her arms and offered him the object she carried. It looked like a crystal, shaped like a flower, glowing faintly from inside. It pulsed, almost like it was alive. He didn't know what it was. Could be a weapon. Could be a tracker. Could be a trap. But the look in her eyes, it wasn't the look of someone setting a trap. It looked more like hope. Still aiming his rifle with one hand, he reached out and took the gift. The moment his fingers touched the crystal, a jolt ran through his arm. Not pain, just a strange warmth, like something waking up inside him. The alien girl let out a soft sound, almost like a sigh of relief. The stones around them lowered to the ground slowly. The humming stopped. The moment felt peaceful. But then the sound of engines broke the silence. Alien drones, 6 of them, rose from the trees, shiny black and shaped like spinning stars. They zipped forward fast. They aimed not at him, but at her. "No!" she shouted suddenly for the first time, using a voice he could understand. Before he could think, Daniel jumped between her and the drones and opened fire. The crystal in his other hand lit up, flaring bright. The energy hit the drones like a shockwave, knocking them out of the air before his bullets could even reach them. Silence followed. Daniel blinked. He looked at the crystal, then at the girl. "What just happened?" he asked, his voice rough. She stepped closer, gently touching his hand that still held the crystal. Her expression was unreadable, but her eyes were locked on his. "You accepted," she whispered. "Accepted what?" She placed her hand over his chest, right where his heart was. "Me." Daniel took a slow step back, confusion flooding his face. "Wait, what do you mean?" "I just took a gift. In my culture," she said softly, "when a female offers her life crystal, and a male takes it willingly, it is marriage." His mouth opened slightly. He stared at her, stunned. "Marriage?" She nodded, eyes serious. You are now my mate, my protector, and I am yours. He looked down at the crystal, still glowing in his palm. It suddenly felt very heavy. Before he could respond, his wristpad beeped multiple heat signatures approaching fast. It wasn't just more drones. It was a war party. And they were not coming for peace. Asterisk. Daniel ducked behind a stone pillar as red lights flickered through the trees. The alien war party was too close. He looked at the alien girl beside him. She wasn't afraid. Instead, she stood tall and calm, her eyes glowing softly as if she knew what was coming. How many are out there? He asked, checking his wristpad. 7 soldiers, she said. All trained to kill. He stared at her. You can read their movements? I feel them, she replied. The bond. You hold my life crystal. I can now sense danger around. Daniel didn't have time to argue. His pulse rifle had only 40 rounds left. He scanned the area and spotted a narrow cave entrance behind a thick bush. If they moved now, they could disappear into the rocks. Come on, he said, grabbing her hand. She didn't hesitate. They ran together, ducking through the brush. Just as the first alien soldier stepped into the clearing they'd just left. Its armor shimmered in the forest light, and its face looked like a cross between a bird and a shark. Sharp, cruel, and cold. Inside the cave, it was dark, but warm. Daniel placed his hand on the wall to guide them forward. The alien girl walked right beside him, eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. You never told me your name, he said after a while. She turned her head toward him. My name cannot be spoken in your tongue, but you may call me Lyra. All right, Lyra, I'm Daniel, sergeant in the Earth Defense Corps. He paused. You said this was marriage. What does that even mean in your culture? She looked down at the glowing crystal still in his hand. When a female offers her crystal to a male, she offers her soul, her future, her trust. The crystal links us. As long as you carry it, your life is tied to mine. That's a pretty big leap for someone you just met, he muttered. I have watched you for weeks, she said softly. I was sent to study your kind. I saw how you fought to protect your team. Even when it hurt, I saw how you saved the wounded. And when others ran, you stayed. I knew you were strong, but also kind. Daniel didn't know what to say to that. No one had ever described him like that before, especially not a shimmering alien girl with glowing eyes and floating hair. Suddenly, the ground shook slightly. Lyra turned to the cave entrance. They've entered the forest. Daniel cursed under his breath. We need to move deeper. As they pushed farther into the cave, the path opened up into a hidden chamber. It was beautiful crystal walls, glowing stones, and a pool of water that shimmered with soft blue light. It felt ancient, sacred. Lyra walked to the edge of the pool and knelt down, placing both her hands on the surface. The water rippled, and something began to form an image. Daniel moved closer and saw a 2. It was a vision. Him, standing in the middle of a battlefield with Lyra beside him. They were surrounded by both humans and aliens, all bowing their heads toward them. What is this? He asked. This place shows truth, Lyra said. It shows what might be, but I don't want to lead a war. You may not have a choice, she whispered. The air shifted suddenly. A sound echoed through the cave, metal feet scraping against rock. The soldiers had found the entrance. Daniel aimed his rifle toward the noise. How do we stop them? Lyra stood and walked to him, placing her hand over the crystal. It lit up brighter than ever before. You don't stop them alone, she said. Now we fight together. She reached behind her and pulled out a hidden weapon, something like a staff, but sharp and glowing at the ends. She pressed her forehead to his for a brief second. Daniel felt warmth flood his body, strength he didn't have before. Then the first alien soldier entered the cave, without warning. Lyra leapt forward, spinning her staff and knocking the soldier across the floor in one blow. Daniel fired at the next one, hitting its weak point just below the neck. More came. The battle inside the crystal cave began. 2 against many. But the strange thing was Daniel didn't feel fear. With Lyra beside him, the odds didn't matter. And with each second, the crystal bond between them pulsed brighter. Almost like it was awakening something far bigger than just marriage. Something that could change the fate of both their worlds. Daniel slammed his shoulder into the second alien soldier, forcing it back against the wall as Lyra swept her glowing staff through the air like a blade. The cave echoed with the sound of weapons clashing, alien roars, and the pulse of the strange bond crystal still glowing in Daniel's hand. He didn't know how many they'd taken down already. 3, maybe 4. His rifle was hot, almost empty, but something inside him kept pushing forward. His body moved faster than usual, like his reflexes had been boosted. His vision was sharper. And every time he locked eyes with Lyra, it was like their minds touched. For a second, 2 more enemy soldiers rushed into the cave. Daniel dropped one with a shot to the chest. Lyra slid between the other's legs, swung her staff up, and knocked it flat. The cave grew quiet again. He breathed hard, sweat dripping down his face, his chest rising and falling like he had just run for miles. But they were still alive. Still. Standing. Then he noticed something strange. The glowing pool behind them had changed. The soft blue light had turned violet, swirling and pulsing like a living thing. As he stared at it, the water rose, floating upward in a twisting spiral. From its center, a figure began to form. Lyra stepped forward, her face suddenly serious. No, now, what is that? Daniel asked. The speaker, she said quietly. A guardian spirit tied to my people's ancient laws. It appears when the bond is real. To judge if the union is worthy. Daniel blinked. You mean because I took the crystal? Yes, she whispered. And because I defended you, and you defended me. The watery figure grew clearer, an alien shape, tall and robed, with no face, only light behind a mask. It floated above the pool, its voice vibrating through the cave without moving its mouth. One has taken the sacred bond, the other has offered her soul. Does the pairing accept their fate? Lyra turned to Daniel. You must speak. He swallowed hard. I didn't know what I accepted. I didn't know what this crystal meant. But now, I know you fought for me. You didn't run. You stood beside me. That means something. She looked into his eyes. So do you accept? Daniel looked down at the crystal still glowing in his palm. He remembered being alone, forgotten by command, left behind in this mission. But she had stayed. She had risked her life. I accept, he said. The speaker raised its arms. Then the bond is sealed. Light burst through the cave, blinding him for a second. When it faded, the water dropped back into the pool, still and clear once more. But Daniel felt different. His wristpad was gone, melted off his arm. And in its place, the crystal had fused to his skin, glowing faintly under his wrist like a pulse. He looked at Lyra. What happens now? Before she could answer, the ground shook violently. Rocks fell from above. The cave trembled. Daniel turned, rifle ready again. But it wasn't the aliens this time. From a side tunnel, a massive shape crawled through. A beast, at least 3 times taller than him, with long armored legs and glowing yellow eyes. It wasn't part of the war party. It was something older. What is that? Daniel whispered. Lyra's voice was tight. A cave guardian. It protects the bond chamber. It thinks we're intruders. Daniel aimed. Can we kill it? No, Lyra said. Not with bullets. The beast roared, the sound so deep it shook his bones. It lunged forward. Daniel grabbed Lyra and rolled behind a stone wall. The beast slammed down where they had been, cracking the floor. Rocks exploded. Daniel scrambled to his feet. If we can't kill it, what then? Lyra stood still, staring at the beast. "We must show it the bond," she said. Daniel didn't understand, but he trusted her. He opened his palm, showing the glowing mark on his wrist. Lyra stepped beside him and raised her hand. Her palm shone with a matching symbol. The creature froze. Its eyes shifted, locking onto the mark's dot. Then, slowly, it lowered its head and backed away. Its massive legs creaked, and the cave grew quiet again. Daniel let out a long breath. "We're really in this together, huh?" Lyra nodded. Now there's no turning back. But far above the cave, beyond the trees, alien ships were moving. Again, this time not just a hunt. They were preparing to respond, not to a war, but to a marriage, and to a human, who unknowingly became a prince in a kingdom of stars. Daniel sat on the edge of the glowing pool, silent. His hands still tingled, where the crystal mark had fused into his wrist. The light pulsed gently under his skin like a second heartbeat. Beside him, Lyra sat with her knees drawn close, her eyes watching the still water. She looked calm, but he knew she was thinking deeply. "So what now?" he asked finally. Lyra turned her head toward him. "Now we must go to the temple of the Skyborn." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "That sounds like something out of a fantasy novel." "It is where my people recognize sacred unions," she said. "The crystal bond has been accepted by the speaker. But until the elders confirm it, your name won't carry protection." He narrowed his eyes. "Protection from what?" "From death," she said. "You are now part of royal blood. But without approval, other families may try to remove you." Daniel stood, wiping his hands on his uniform. "Let me get this straight. Because I accepted your crystal, I'm now basically married into alien royalty. And unless we visit some sky temple, I might get hunted by in-laws." She stood too, her expression serious. "Yes," he let out a low whistle. "That escalated fast." She gave him a confused look. "Is that a human joke?" "Yeah," he sighed, smiling for a moment. "A very nervous one." Suddenly, a faint beep echoed through the cave. Daniel froze. That sound was familiar. It was a human distress beacon. He followed the sound to a small crevice near the rear wall. Reaching inside, he pulled out a damaged helmet. "A soldier's, Rodriguez," he muttered, recognizing the scratches on the visor. "He was part of my squad." Lyra knelt beside him. "Your team?" He nodded. "We were separated during the skirmish." "I thought they were gone." Lyra placed a hand on the helmet. "The signal is recent. He may still be alive." Daniel stood up quickly. "Then we go now. I can't leave them." Lyra nodded. "But we must be careful. If he was captured, he may not be alone." They climbed out of the cave before dawn. The sky was turning violet as the second moon rose. The forest had grown quiet again, but Daniel knew silence didn't mean safety. Using the beacon's weak signal, they tracked the direction north. After 2 hours of moving through thick brush and strange glowing vines, they reached a large cliffside and spotted movement below. Daniel used his scope to zoom in. It was a small alien base, temporary, made of dark gray metal and glowing pylons. And inside a cage near the edge was a man slumped over. "It's Rodriguez," Daniel whispered. "But something's wrong." As he looked closer, he saw strange wires attached to the soldier's head and chest. He was breathing, but barely. Lyra placed her hand on Daniel's shoulder. "They are extracting memories. The aliens want to learn about your kind." Daniel clenched his jaw. "We have to stop it." "It will be dangerous," she warned. "There are at least 10 guards, and they use cloaked sentries." Daniel looked at the glowing mark on his wrist. "Do I have any powers now?" "Not yet," Lyra said. "The bond is still forming. But you are stronger, faster, and your instincts are now partially linked to mine." He smirked. "I'll take what I can get." They moved through the trees, quietly, staying low and fast. Daniel used old tactics from Earth defense training. Lyra guided him where cloaked sensors were hidden. They worked like a team, almost without speaking. The crystal bond between them seemed to sharpen everything. As they reached the edge of the base, Lyra whispered, "I'll distract the guards. You get your friend." Daniel nodded. "Be careful." She smiled softly. "I have you. That makes me strong." Then she moved graceful like a shadow, her white hair trailing behind her. In seconds, she was inside the base. The guards turned their heads, weapons raised. Daniel took the chance. He sprinted toward the cage, shot the lock open, and caught Rodriguez as he fell forward. "Hang in there, buddy," Daniel said, pulling the wires off gently. "I got you." Rodriguez groaned, his lips dry and cracked. "Sarge, they... No, what do they know?" Daniel asked quickly. "The human camps. They've been watching, listening. They're planning something big." Daniel lifted him up. "Let's get you out first." Gunfire erupted behind him. Daniel turned. Lyra was fighting 3 guards, holding them back with her glowing staff. But more were coming. Daniel placed Rodriguez behind a stone, gave him his backup pistol, and rushed back toward Lyra. Together, they fought through the enemy with precise movements, covering each other like it was second nature. And when the last guard fell, they didn't speak. They just breathed, side by side. Daniel looked at the base now on fire. "They know where the camps are," he said. "They're going to hit Earth harder than ever before." Lyra looked at him. "Then we must reach the temple quickly. You'll need more than bullets to stop what's coming." Daniel looked into the distance. Something told him the war had only just begun. The wind howled through the valley as Daniel, Lyra, and the injured Rodriguez pushed forward. The sky above had changed. Dark clouds moved like waves, and distant flashes of alien ship lights lit up the night horizon. Something was stirring in the skies. Something big. Lyra walked slightly ahead, guiding them along a hidden path through the mountains. Her steps were light, but Daniel could see tension in her movements. The closer they got to the Temple of the Skyborn, the more serious she became. "How far now?" Daniel asked. Lyra paused, pointing to a tall mountain in the distance. A narrow beam of blue light was shining down from the clouds onto its peak. "There, the temple is hidden inside the mountain. We must reach it before moonrise." Daniel glanced at Rodriguez, who leaned heavily against him. The soldier was weak, but still breathing. "Will he make it?" Lyra asked quietly. "I don't know," Daniel answered. "But I won't let him die, not after what we've been through." They moved faster. As they climbed higher, strange markings appeared on the rock symbols, glowing faintly in the dark. Lyra touched one gently. "My people's ancestors made these," she said. "Only those bonded through the crystal path can enter. So that's me now," Daniel muttered. "A soldier turned husband turned chosen one." Lyra looked at him. "It is no accident." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "You really believe that?" "I know it," she said. When they reached the mountain entrance, a giant stone arch blocked the path. No doors, no buttons, just the same glowing symbols. Daniel stared at them. Then the mark on his wrist pulsed. The arch responded. The stones shifted, slowly sliding apart with deep groaning sounds. Light spilled out from inside, a soft blue glow that felt alive. They entered carefully. Inside, the air was heavy, thick. The walls were made of crystal, carved with ancient designs. There was no tech, no machines, yet everything responded to their presence. Rodriguez sat on a smooth stone bench. His breathing steadied slightly. Lyra walked to the center of the chamber and knelt down. Daniel followed. From the floor, a spiral platform rose. And then silently 3 figures appeared, tall, robed in silver, faces hidden behind white masks. "The elders," Lyra said. The middle elder stepped forward. Its voice echoed in Daniel's head, not through his ears. "You carry the bond, human. The choice was made, but the war has awakened the deep code. Daniel frowned. The deep code? Lyra's eyes widened slightly. The signal hidden within the stars. A weapon or a warning? The bond between you two has activated the ancient frequency. Now all worlds will know. Daniel stepped forward. We didn't ask for any of this. I didn't even know what I was accepting. Yet you accepted, the elder replied. And now the path opens. Your marriage is not just a ritual, it's a key. A key to a vault that has not been opened in 1,000 cycles. Lyra stood, her voice steady. He saved me. He didn't do it for power. He did it because he cares. Daniel blinked at her words. I just didn't want you to die, he said. Softly. The elders grew silent for a moment. Then the crystal in Daniel's wrist lit up bright. A projection appeared mid-air showing a map of Earth and the surrounding star systems. Red lines moved across the space, showing alien fleets converging. The war was spreading fast. The final war is near, the elder said. And only one bonded through love, not greed, can unlock the vault of the Skyborn. Daniel turned to Lyra. Are they saying we need to find this vault and open it? Yes, she said. It may be the only way to stop what's coming. Suddenly, the temple shook, the walls trembled, and light flickered. Daniel grabbed his rifle. What now? Lyra looked up. They found us. Outside the temple, alien dropships descended like steel hawks. Troops poured out, dozens of them, armed and ready. Daniel turned to the elders. If we don't make it, what happens to the bond? If one of you falls, the elder said, the bond dies with you, and the vault will remain sealed forever. Daniel looked at Lyra. Then I guess we don't die today. She nodded, stepping beside him. Together. He turned to Rodriguez, handing him a flare beacon. When the path clears, signal the rescue team. Stay hidden until then. Then Daniel and Lyra walked toward the temple's front entrance. Outside, the night sky burned red. The enemy had come to destroy their bond, but they were ready to fight for it. The stone doors of the temple opened with a thunderous groan as Daniel and Lyra stepped into the night. The wind was sharp, filled with the roar of alien engines. Dropships hovered in the dark sky like metal vultures, shining red lights over the cliffside. Daniel narrowed his eyes as he saw rows of alien soldiers marching forward. Sleek armor. Long plasma rifles. No fear. They're not just here to attack, he said. They're here for you. For us, Lyra corrected. The bond has made you part of my bloodline. Now you are a threat to every ruling family who wants to keep power. Daniel raised his pulse rifle. Too bad for them, not easy to kill. From the sky, one dropship lowered, opening a side ramp. A figure stepped out taller than the others, with sharp black armor and glowing purple eyes. Lyra went stiff. That's High Commander Nurex. He's from my mother's rival house. Let me guess, Daniel said, aiming his rifle. Not here to bring flowers. Nurex stepped forward. His voice echoed through a speaker. You should not have bonded with a human, Lyra. Your foolish choice has triggered ancient power. You think the old ways will protect you? Daniel stepped beside her. We don't need protection. We have each other. Nurex laughed coldly. Then die together. He raised his hand. The soldiers opened fire. Daniel grabbed Lyra and dove behind a boulder as plasma bolts scorched the air. The rock shook with the impact. Dust rained down on them. Any ideas? Daniel shouted. We don't need to fight them. All, Lyra said, gripping his hand. Just reach the core. What core? She pointed toward a glowing pillar rising from the mountain's edge. The vault is hidden below it. If we reach it and activate the bond's full energy, it will protect us and unlock what my people fear most. Then let's run. Daniel said. They moved together, using speed and instinct. The soldiers closed in, but the glowing mark on Daniel's wrist began to shine stronger. Every time a bolt came close, it curved away like something unseen was shielding him. Lyra's Eyes widened. The bond is awakening. The crystal is feeding on your emotions. Daniel fired back, hitting one alien in the leg. Then it's gonna be a wild night, because I'm feeling a whole lot of adrenaline right now. They reached the pillar. It was ancient, half stone, half crystal. Symbols carved deep into its base shimmered with light. Lyra pressed her palm to one side. Now you. Daniel placed his hand on the other. The mountain shook. The pillar responded to their bond. A glowing platform rose from the ground beneath them, and slowly began to descend into the hidden depths of the mountain. As they vanished into the earth, the alien troops charged forward, but the stone closed above their heads just in time. Darkness swallowed them. Then a soft light filled the chamber. Daniel looked around, stunned. They stood in a giant underground dome. Above them, floating in the air, was a massive glowing sphere. Inside it was a swirling storm of energy and light, ancient symbols spinning in every direction. Lyra gasped. The vault of the Starborn. Daniel. Step forward. What's inside it? She stared at the sphere. Knowledge, power, secrets of peace or destruction. It depends on the hearts of those who open it. Daniel turned to her. And it responds to our bond? Lyra nodded. Only to true unity. Only when both of us offer everything, mind, body, and soul. Daniel lowered his rifle. Then let's do it. Together, they stepped onto the platform beneath the floating vault. The marks on their skin pulsed like fire. Lyra reached for his hand, and he took hers without hesitation. The vault responded. Light exploded outward, not with heat, but with truth. Images flashed in Daniel's mind: alien worlds, star maps, ancient wars, and peaceful futures. It felt like his thoughts were being read. His heart measured. He saw Lyra's memories too, her childhood, her lonely life among warriors, her first mission to Earth, the way she watched him from afar, how she'd feared the bond, until she saw the good inside him. Daniel blinked back tears. You've always been watching me. I believed in you, she whispered, even before you knew I existed. The vault pulsed once more, and opened. From inside, a glowing core floated down between them. It looked like a star trapped in a crystal. Lyra gasped. The heart of the Starborn. Suddenly, alarms blared above. The alien soldiers had found a way in. Stone walls cracked as metal claws tore through. The ground shook. Nurex's voice echoed again. Give me the heart, or I will bury you both. Daniel looked at the core. Then, at Lyra. No, he said. We fight together. Lyra raised her staff, eyes burning with power. Then let's make them remember why love is the strongest weapon of all. The vault chamber trembled as explosions echoed above. Pieces of stone fell from the ceiling while the crystal walls cracked under pressure. The alien forces had breached the outer layers, and their footsteps pounded like war drums. Daniel tightened his grip on the glowing heart of the Starborn. It pulsed with a strange heat, not burning, but alive. The core seemed to respond to his heartbeat, glowing brighter each time his thoughts turned to Lyra. They're almost here, he said. Lyra stood beside him, eyes glowing, her staff drawn and ready. Then we stand for Earth, for my people, for our bond. He looked at her, truly looked, and something in his chest settled. He wasn't just a soldier anymore. He wasn't just trying to survive. He was part of something bigger, something older and deeper than any war. From the shattered ceiling, alien soldiers began dropping, in 10, 20, maybe more. Nurex floated down behind them, riding a hover platform, his dark armor sharp as blades. You were warned, Nurex said. Give me the heart and I will spare your lives. Daniel stepped forward. You don't want to spare us, you want to erase us. Nurex sneered. Because you bonded with her, you awakened powers that were supposed to stay dead. Daniel raised the heart of the Starborn. And now I'll use them, he said. The moment he held it high, a wave of energy exploded outward. Every enemy soldier Frozen place. The vault responded, not with destruction, but with revelation. Each alien's weapon flickered, then powered down. Their eyes dimmed. What is this? Nurex growled. Lyra stepped beside Daniel. The heart reads truth, and it shows it. That's why you fear it. The dome around them shimmered. Visions flashed in the air. Nurex's hidden crimes, his plans to betray both his own kind and the humans. His lies were laid bare, visible. To all who stood in the chamber, some of the soldiers lowered their weapons. Others stepped back in shock. Daniel looked around. They're seeing who he really is, Nurex shouted, desperate. Their lies. This is human trickery. But the soldiers weren't listening anymore. One of them, a younger warrior with blue markings, dropped his weapon and knelt. She is of royal bond. He is chosen by the vault. We were wrong. Others followed. Nurex screamed in fury and raised a hidden blade, but before he could strike, Daniel turned the heart toward him. A single beam of light hit Nurex square in the chest. Not burning, not killing, just truth. His armor shattered like glass. His body was thrown backward and crashed into the wall, where he collapsed alive but stripped of power. Silence filled the vault. The alien troop stood still, unsure of what came next. Daniel looked to Lyra. What now? She stepped forward. Now we change everything, she addressed the soldiers. The bond was not forced, it was chosen. He risked his life for me again and again, and I for him. That is strength. Daniel added, this war doesn't need to continue. You saw what the heart showed. We can fight for peace now, not fear. One by one, the aliens lowered their heads, not in defeat, but in recognition. Outside, the clouds began to clear. The light of the twin moons shone through the cracks in the mountain. The vault of the Skyborn pulsed one last time and slowly sealed itself. Its message sent. Later, as the dust settled and rescue ship from Earth arrived, Daniel stood at the edge of the mountain with Lyra. Rodriguez, still healing, saluted him. Sarge, looks like you just married into the history books. Daniel chuckled. Yeah, didn't see that one coming. Lyra took his hand. You were always meant for more. He turned to her. What happens to us now? She smiled. We rebuild, together, a new bond between worlds. Behind them, human and alien banners were raised side by side for the first time. Daniel looked down at the crystal on his wrist. Still glowing softly. It had all started with a gift. A gift, he thought, was simple, but it became a promise, a bond, and maybe the beginning of peace.